Now, these are the types of homes in Houston I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. Overpriced listings, unstable school zones, and foundations that are ready to crack open. Now, if you choose the wrong one, you risk losing tens of thousands in missed appreciation or costly repairs. But if you choose the right, you could put yourself years ahead financially. And I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell across the Houston area from all over, from Katy, Cypress, Sugarland, the Woodlands, Manville. And in today's video, I'm breaking down the exact types of homes that you should look at instead. All right, so let's kick off with the first strategy. Okay, strategy number one is going to be follow the retailers. And this one surprises a lot of people because the thing is, you really shouldn't chase neighborhoods that everybody else is already talking about. That's reactive. I think you should follow the retailers. And I know that sounds a little crazy at first, grocery stores, Travis, really? But listen, this move has helped our clients buy in areas that later jump 15 to 20% in value in their very first year. So why does this work? Because big retailers don't gamble. They're not guessing. When they commit to a new store, they've already done months of demographic research. They've done the traffic counts, income projections, rooftop growth modeling. They don't spend tens of millions unless they know that the growth is coming. So take H-E-B, for example. They've continued expanded along high growth corridors across Houston, especially near the Grand Parkway, Northwest Harris County, Fort Bend County, and Montgomery County. They don't just drop stores randomly. They position themselves in the path of expansion. They are extremely picky. So whenever they move in, property values usually follow. And if you buy just outside those growth pockets, you're likely to see your home grow slower than the identical house just a few minutes closer. And that gap compounds over time. Now take Costco. They're doing the same thing, just faster. They don't wait until the area is packed out with houses. They get in early when they see the growth curve forming and land prices still make sense. And here's a Houston-specific example that most people haven't connected yet. The Houston Texans have partnered with Howard Hughes Holding to build a new headquarters and practice facility in Cypress, Texas, right in Bridgeland. That's not just a football story, that's a multi-phase development signal. When an NFL franchise commits to building infrastructure inside a master plan community, they're not thinking 5 years out, they're thinking decades. And when you see that kind of institutional commitment tied to retail, commercial, and surrounding residential expansion, that's a serious long-term growth indicator. That's the same pattern you see in other markets when professional sports infrastructure anchors mixed-use development. And that matters because, again, you're buying in the path of growth. And then you've got major mixed-use developments across Houston, bringing in Whole Foods, medical space, office space, and entertainment as part of a multi-billion-dollar projects. And when you see that level of retail investment, you know institutional money believes in the long-term value of that area. But here's the payoff for homeowners. Properties near these retail anchors don't just get more convenient, they appreciate faster because you're literally buying in the path of growth. And if you want to understand why that matters in Houston specifically, you've got to zoom out and look at what's driving the growth in the first place. The Houston Metro added roughly 130,000 new residents from 2022 to 2023 alone. And inside the city limits, Houston added over 43,000 residents between 2023 and 2024. That's significant population acceleration. And corporate relocations are driving both retail growth and residential demand, especially in Fort Bend County, Montgomery County, and Northwest Harris County. Energy expansion. Texas Medical Center, over 100,000 employees. Port of Houston, one of the busiest ports in the United States by tonnage. Advanced manufacturing. logistics and distribution hubs. Corporate payroll drives population growth. All right? Population growth drives rooftops. Rooftops drive retail. And that cycle is what pushes property values. So you really haven't seen the ceiling yet, because growth along the Grand Parkway and the outer corridors is still unfolding. Walmart follows, Home Depot follows, Lowe's follows. That's the first wave. Finding growth before the crowd. But the next step isn't just where you buy, it's when you buy. And that's where timing becomes leverage. And when it comes to timing, one of the biggest leverage points in Houston is how you buy inside a master plan community. Now, if you do this right, this strategy has saved our clients up to $50,000 while still getting them into the neighborhood they wanted. But this is where buyers usually get it wrong. They think phase one is always the best deal. That's not always true. Let's break it down so that you understand what I'm saying. Now, phase one is going to have its perks. You're going to have entry pricing is usually lower. You get the most customization options. Appreciation potential can be high because you're early, but there are trade-offs. Construction is everywhere. The amenities are not yet fully built out. The community vibe isn't established. Builder incentives in early phases can be aggressive. Rate buy downs, closing cost credits, design allowances, sometimes even lot premium reductions. But when you line that up with the 3+ year post-construction sweet spot we'll talk about in a minute, you position yourself for both appreciation and stability. Now, phase two and phase three have their own wins. Amenities are done, landscaping is mature, you can evaluate builder performance, right? You know their quality. You know how fast they build. You know how they handle warranty issues. And if you pick the wrong phase, you can end up with the same house as your neighbor, except they paid less and secured stronger incentives. And here's another layer of timing. Builders love closing inventory at the end of quarters, especially near year end. That's when margin compression happens. That's when leverage shifts. But timing isn't the only factor that matters. For families, one risk outweighs even incentives. And that risk is school rezoning. If you're buying a family home, school district stability protects both your child's experience and your property value. So think about it like this. You buy a home for the schools. 2 years later, your child's school gets rezoned. That happens more often than people think. And it can flip the resale perception. Now, Houston has some very strong districts: Katy ISD, Cypress ISD, Fort Bend ISD, Clear Creek ISD, Conroe ISD, but fast-growing districts build new campuses, and new campuses often mean boundary adjustments. That doesn't mean avoid growth districts. It just means you need to understand enrollment patterns. You need to understand capacity planning, boundary history, because stable attendance zones protect long-term value. And if you buy in the wrong pocket of a district experiencing rapid growth, you could lose the consistency your family was looking for, while also impacting your future resale strength. But even the best school district can't protect you if the builder cuts corners. And this is one of the biggest mistakes Houston buyers make: choosing the wrong builder. Because, the finishes are going to look great, but what really matters is the foundation. Houston sits on expansive clay soil in many areas. It swells when saturated. It contracts during dry spells. That cycle puts a stress on slab foundations. If engineering and drainage aren't done correctly, long-term repairs can get expensive. So what do? You look at the warranties. Most builders offer you a 1-2-10 structure. 1 year for workmanship, 2 years for systems, and up to 10 years for structural coverage, depending on the contract. But not all structural warranties cover all soil movement scenarios. So you need to read the fine print. Ask about the soil reports. Ask about the drainage design. You ask about the foundation specs. The best builders rarely need to use their structural warranty. That's the key. Because one foundation issue can erase years of financial gain. So how do you reduce that risk even further? You target a very specific age range. Now here's the sweet spot that almost nobody talks about. Homes roughly 3 to 7 years old enough to have gone through that initial settling, but new enough that structural warranties may still be active. Most noticeable settling happens in the first 6 to 18 months. By year 3, movement patterns are typically more predictable. And if you purchase a 3-year-old home, you still may have several years of structural coverage remaining. That's a significant safety net. Brand new homes are still adjusting. Much older homes may have deferred maintenance. That middle window balances risk and protection, but if it were me, I would go brand new because I want my full 10 years. And in today's market, incentives are strong. You have rate buy downs, closing cost credits, seller concessions. So when you combine both retail growth signals, smart phase timing, stable school zones, quality builders, and that sweet spot age strategy, that's how you stack the advantage. And when you stack these strategies together, retail growth, corporate payroll expansion, time and leverage, school stability, builder quality, foundation science, sweet spot home age, that's when you position yourself years ahead financially in Houston. And if you want help identifying that kind of opportunity, please reach out. My team and I get calls, texts, and emails every single day from people just like you who are relocating to Houston or moving within the metro. We'd love to help you make a smooth move to Houston. And if you want to know which Houston neighborhoods you should absolutely avoid, be sure that you check out this next video. And again, if you want all of our help personally, please just reach out by phone, Zoom, call, or text. And until next time, we hope to show you around town.